We're here in Rotterdam and I'm joined by the guys from Otherkin. Today we're gonna talk all about this album, Okay, your debut album, which came out a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah.
It's amazing, first of all, and it got to the second position in the Irish album chart, which is amazing for a record that has been released independently.
Yeah, it was, we were really surprised because before the album came out, our label was like, okay, there are big albums coming out by like Shania Twain and Miley Cyrus and other like big hitters, and we didn't even expect to get top 5, but to go to number 2 was just incredible.
What was your first reaction when you got the news?
I mean, fuck Shania Twain. No, we're over the moon with it. Like, our TM had like secretly bought like a load of Prosecco, and we were just in this farmhouse in Derbyshire. We found out that morning we were on tour in the UK, and just the whole day was just, everyone was just so like flying on a kite, just so high.
Yeah.
It was amazing.
His first thought was fireworks, because they're illegal in Ireland, but we were in the UK, so you could get them. So we went to the fireworks store and got like a lot of bottle rockets and Roman candles.
We bought like the biggest thing they had. There was like this one rocket that looked like it would take out a house.
Yeah.
And we launched it that night. It was pretty terrifying.
It was actually terrifying. Yeah, we have some good video footage of us all like scurrying away, being like, "Oh my god, we're gonna get killed."
Everyone was safe, right? After
Well, I think we lost one or two, but you know, we could
it was worth it. You got the album on number 2, so yeah.
Yeah, there you go, exactly.
All right, so let's talk about some of the songs on the album, which are all fucking amazing, and some of them were released like prior to the release of that album. I think 4 songs on the album were on previous EPs, and made it to this album. What was like the selection procedure in like let's take them to this album.
I mean, we were trying to just write as many songs as we could coming up to like the end of last year, and then we took a bit of time off to just sort of sit back. I think we were in a rut, and we were like, are these songs that good, and where are we at? And then we went down to this like tiny farmhouse in the middle of nowhere in Ireland and locked ourselves in for a week and just like went kind of mental. But came out with 3 songs that ended up being the first 3 singles. It was like Bad Advice, Come On Low, and React all came out in that week. And we're like, okay, well, let's take these in. And then we went in with like 16 songs. Like, these are the songs we're going to do. And I was like in a position where I was saying to myself, if we're all like finished recording and we're trying to whittle this down to like 10, 11, 12 songs, and we're having like massive arguments about it, that's good, because it means that, you each individually believe in the strengths of certain songs, so much so that you'd fight for them to be there. And it didn't come to a fight, thankfully, but we just got it down to 12. I mean, we couldn't decide on less than that. We're like, this is the album.
Yeah. When it came to choosing the album, we wanted to, as David said, choose the 12 best songs. And, these songs, I mean, there's 4 from previous EPs, which were out like last year and the year before, but we just felt there'd be a lot of people who'd come to the album and never heard these songs before. So we wanted to give them another opportunity to hear the songs, because we love them. And we hope that they do too.
Yeah. Well, your live shows are notorious for being super rowdy, for being super wild. How did that translate to recording them in the studio? Because you can't just smash some amps there, I think.
Yeah.
Did you?
Well, actually, see, the thing was, we recorded the album in a very small studio that our friend he owns, and there wasn't really enough space in the studio for all of us to play at the same time. So what we did was the drums and bass would record together, and then in the little control room where the producer was, myself and Connor, our guitarist, we would be playing the guitars like while staring at each other and just like kind of rocking out. And then when it came to me doing the vocals, I'd get loads of red wine and go into this like darkened room and just kind of run around and sing into it. So it was kind of like a live show, except like fragmented into different parts. And that's where the energy comes from. I mean, there was a lot of times where my voice would blow out just because I didn't warm up enough and there was too much red wine in my vocal cords, even though that wouldn't make sense, but anyway. And we were just like, yeah, let's keep it. It sounds great. And I think that's where the energy sort of comes from. It was all very like, just get in there and just do it,
Yeah, and we were always playing off each other. Like Luke said, it was constantly recording in pairs. So me and Rob, the drummer, would record together. And then to get that live feel on a couple of tracks, we just, like, we're jokers, and we're all like, like a good laugh and messing with each other.
Yeah.
So one of the tracks Rob was doing, like, I had just done the guide, so I wasn't playing along with them for this one. We're like, will we change the BPM? And it's a super fast song called Razorhead. I think this is the fastest song on the album. And we put it up like 20 more beats per minute and just sent it, like, click to him, and just all of us in the studio just having a fucking laugh. And then he's in there, like, and we tired him out. He had to take a break afterwards. And we're like, okay, well, we got the live energy, but now can we record again today? He's broken.
And that ended up on the actual album, so he thinks that he could have given technically a better performance, but he'd been tired out. So yeah, if you don't like the drumming in Razorhead,
It's because of that.
yeah, or go fuck yourself. No, I'm joking.
I heard a lot of bands like The Strokes, like Sex Pistols in your sound. Which one would you say yourself have influenced your sound?
I mean, for me, it's sort of different between what's influenced the sound and influenced me as a musician. So, for instance, The Clash would be my favorite band, and they would have informed me, and especially like the bass playing of like Paul Simonon and the songwriting of Joe Strummer and Mick Jones, just as a musician overall. But that led me then to, you know, in the early noughties and when we were growing up learning guitars, that all that, like the Strokes and all these like noughties, the bands were out. Yeah. So it's hard to just pick one. I'd probably just say The Clash for me.
I think Dave makes a good point in the sense of being influenced as a musician and also being influenced in terms of what you write, because there's definitely bands that we were massive fans of when we were younger, but it didn't necessarily translate into our sound. And I think Sex Pistols is actually a great reference, and I don't think anybody's ever said that before. But I definitely do hear it in what we do, in terms of like, you know, the kind of anger of the vocals a lot of the time, the energy of it all. And I'm also a massive Blur fan, so I think Damon Albarn was the one that, when it comes to like making songs and melodies, something that I definitely spent a lot of time listening to and thinking about. So.